Alright, next step we're going to do the veins. I have a really little brush for this. This is a brush that I actually took and cut down to make it small enough. And I'm just using a vein blue. We want this to be dark enough to be seen, but not so dark that you can't blend it down and sink it into the skin. Nice and squiggly, you don't want any straight lines or any branch looking lines. You're going to pounce these with a big brush, and that helps to sink them down below the surface. Now this step is a real key step to making your dolls look real. You don't want your veins to look like they're sitting on top, drawn on with a Sharpie. They need to look kind of sunken, and they need to look kind of smeary. And they kind of need to fade so that there's no stops, no starts. You don't see just a cold turkey cutoff anywhere. Okay, so we have two sides done. And we're going to come down the middle. And I always pick one side or the other. It's never the same on each baby. Just whatever it kind of feels like. These ones are super important not to make too dark or too light, because if they're too light you can't see them when all the paint's on. But if they're too dark, then they make your baby look like she's got some health problems. We want healthy babies. Okay, so now we get to kind of connect the dots with all these little... We're going to pause and blend these ones in before we finish up. And that will make it look really cool underneath the skin and below the hair. When it's all done, it'll look really realistic and really authentic. Uh-oh, it's got a bit of a boo-boo. A lot of people put their veins on differently, so if this is not something you're comfortable with, you can do it in any fashion you choose. This is just how I have learned to do it and how I like the way it looks, so this is what I go with. Alright. You can see the veins. Okay, so now we're going to do a hand. You can look at your own hands for ideas of how to do these ones. Adult hands have a lot more visible blood vessels than baby hands do. They still have them, babies do, but they're just not as sticky outy. So be careful not to put your veins on your babies too bright and too bold. Not quite dark enough here. I want it to be able to hold up over all the layers of paint. I want to come down to his thumb. Just gently tap it. You never want to like smear the paint because it just wipes it right off. I look at my veins for that. You can definitely see all the blues and colors inside of my veins. And we're going to come to the inside of the arm where you have a major artery coming down, so these ones are pretty big. These don't all have to connect because on your arms and your legs, your veins are not all on top of the surface, so only every once in a while do they stay above the surface and stay visible to the human eye. Okay, this part in here looks a little bit bare, so we're going to throw one in here. Okay, one little arm done. Now we're going to do a leg. I really love the baby feet, so this is one of my favorite parts to do. Back behind the ankle bone, and then in front of the ankle bone. Some goes up to the toe, and down, and under the foot. Okay, so those are nice and kind of sunken in. Again, behind the ankle bone, and across the front of the ankle bone, and across the top of the foot, up into the toes. Nice and blended in. No solid lines. You don't want anything to look like it's been drawn on. No sharp edges. Nice to blend it right in. Again, on the inside of your leg, you have a major artery, so this one's kind of big, nice and deep. And if you ever sit on the toilet and look down at your legs, you can see how spidery they look. so that's one spot done. I'm going to come to the outside of the leg and throw some more on. Some down that come down towards the knee. Nice and sunken, very blurry. Okay, I think we're done. There's nowhere that looks really empty. Nice and sunken in. Got your veins on your feet. Veins up in your thighs. Okay, we're done with veins. Pick up at our next video. We're going to start with some of the under layers of skin tones.